Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow so you don't miss out on a moment of the coverage. Let's talk about it, right? Colorado is probably going to be one of the biggest NFL draft stories, whether people want it to be or not, next month, right? I think it's 29 days from today. Colorado is going to possibly dominate the NFL draft in a way that they've really never done before, and a way that no other team may ever do again. And of course, teams are going to have multiple players drafted. Like Colorado is not inventing that. But Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter are such trendsetters. They're such icons of the sport. They're such fan favorites. They're so polarizing. People are going to talk about it. So if you guys didn't know, Shedeur Sanders has been frequently linked to the New York Giants, which they have the third pick. So not only has there been some complications in terms of like what's going to happen with the Tennessee Titans at 1 and Cleveland Browns at 2. The Titans are expected to take Cam Ward, right? So that leaves the Browns at 2. Do the Browns take Shedeur? Does Shedeur want to play for the Browns? Does Coach Prime want to play for the Browns? Because throughout this whole process, Coach Prime has said, there's teams in the NFL that don't develop quarterbacks, right? There's teams who historically have not been successful. And obviously he's said has no problem using – so he's going to pull an Eli, if you will, which if you didn't know, Eli Manning doesn't want to go over the San Diego Chargers at the time, doesn't want to play for them. And they're like, you know what? We're going to call his bluff. And we draft him anyway. Like he threatened to go to law school and stuff. And then they end up having to trade him for Phillip Rivers that night. And so I don't know if that's going to happen, but there's been a lot of speculation as to which teams Shedeur does or does not want to play for. Some people are convinced the Browns are a team he doesn't want to play for. Others are like the Browns. They love him. So we'll just have to wait and see on that end. But a team that we do know that he's at least flirted with or kind of linked himself to is the New York Giants, right? He had the cleats. He was playing catch with Malik Neighbors, right? He was doing all these things where it's like, okay, maybe he wants to go to the Giants, right? Maybe he's hinting at this. And the Giants go out and sign Jameis Winston. Now, Field Yates a while back, I think it was Field Yates and Mel Kiper. They were on the show together. I don't remember who said it. One of them said, you know what? The Giants will probably sign a veteran quarterback, and then they could still take a rookie quarterback at the top of the draft. And I go, okay, so they signed Jameis Winston. I'm like, perfect bridge quarterback. We're kind of, at least for the most part, I imagine 99.9% of people are out on Jameis Winston being a franchise quarterback, right? He just turns the ball over too much. He's too inconsistent. But he's a nice bridge quarterback, good guy to learn from. He's made mistakes. He's a good leader, a good teammate. So I think he's a great guy to learn from. And then yesterday, the Giants went out and signed Russell Wilson. So now they have a quarterback room consisting of Jameis, Danger Russ, and Tommy DeVito. And so it's like, okay, where does Shedeur Sanders fit into this? And so I have two takes on the matter, really. One, the Giants are going to possibly take a Travis Hunter or trade back and take another player of need. Or two, they're going to take Shedeur Sanders, but they have no intention of playing him for at least a year or two. Right, so Jameis is on a multi-year deal. Russ is on a 1-year deal, so that gets a little complicated. It's one of those things where I really am concerned with what the Giants, and here's where it gets complicated. The Giants have a head coach and general manager who are coaching / managing for their job this year, right? They messed up the draft last year. They could have taken Jaden Daniels. They didn't. The kid, the 13-year-old son, I think he was like, take Jaden Daniels, right? He's good. And the dad was like, nah, it's fine. They let Saquon walk. He's a pivotal part of the Eagles winning a Super Bowl. Plus, they gave Danny Dimes the extension. So the Giants are coaching and general managing for their jobs. I think these are signs of a team that's probably not going to go quarterback, right? So now I'm looking at this draft going, okay, who else needs a quarterback? Right? Because if the Giants are out of the race, and we never know, they still might draft Shedeur, but then that's 4 quarterbacks on the roster. Then they cut Tommy DeVito, who's like he's the perfect cult favorite third quarterback who like has no expectations of playing, but everyone loves him. So when he does play, everyone's like, yes, Tommy DeVito. So do they cut him? I don't know. So now I'm looking at the Browns. They need a quarterback. The Raiders could take a quarterback, but they got Geno. So it's like, do they really want to plan for the future right now when they could sort of help their team continue to contend, right? They signed Max Crosby to the highest deal ever for a non-quarterback. They make a move for Geno. Do they need a quarterback? I say no. The Jets need a quarterback, right? Maybe Shedeur to New York is going to happen, just not in the way we thought it was. So I think the New York Giants are kind of throwing things for a loop. The Panthers don't need a quarterback. The Saints could take a quarterback, but do they do that at 9? I wouldn't. Right? You have Derek Carr coming back. I would trade back. At this point, it's getting like the Steelers look like the next Shedeur Sanders landing spot. Maybe Seattle, but I don't know if he's had any ties to Seattle. So the Giants have really thrown a wrench into things, and I don't really know what Shedeur Sanders' future looks like with them. But maybe it's the Jets, maybe it's the Saints, and maybe it's the Steelers. Right? He's been linked to all those teams, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But New York Giants are making interesting moves. Let me know what you think. Are the Giants going to draft Shedeur, or were their signings like we're good. We're trying to contend this year. We're trying to win games. Now, contend is a word I use lightly here because it's obviously the Giants, but we'll just have to wait and see. When we come back, we're going to talk about the 2 transfers that I think need to have the biggest impact, one on offense, one on defense. This episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by our sponsors over at Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO gives you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you just stop managing your money and start building wealth. My favorite part, when I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. Now, I budget smarter and save more, right? You get a little lazy. You don't want to cook. You just go, just DoorDash or just Uber, whatever it is, right? Monarch Money helps you realize, like, hey, you spent $500 on delivery this past week. Maybe dial it back. You got a wedding coming up, right? So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, so make sure to like, subscribe, follow, so that way you don't miss out on a moment of our coverage. Let's talk about it. I was asked this question yesterday, and it really got me thinking, the question was, who is one transfer that really needs to hit for Colorado for them to be successful? And so I'm taking it a step further. 2 transfers that need to be successful. The most successful, I would say, on offense, one, defense, the other. For offense, I'm going Kaidon Salter, right? The quarterback, it's not shocking. But again, Shedeur Sanders played such a pivotal role in Colorado's success. Historic season of completing passes, right? He's super smart with the ball, rarely turns it over. When he does turn it over, it wasn't always his fault, right? It was like a deflection against North Dakota State. It was a tip ball here, tip ball there, wrong route here. Like, he doesn't make mistakes with the ball very often. Combine that, with the fact that he was probably the best or one of the best top 3 quarterbacks in college football with the worst offensive line in college football. It's hard to replace, right? He was tough, great leader, great with the ball, very just savvy quarterback in general. So Kaidon Salter's coming in, having to replace that. Also, Shedeur Sanders is very popular, so you lose that from a popularity perspective, which is not a popularity contest, but you're losing a leader, a star, and all these things, and you need someone who could fill those shoes. Now, I think Kaidon Salter could do that. He has Julian Lewis nipping at his heels, and I don't know how long of a leash he'll have, but if Kaidon Salter can return to the 2023 form that we saw from him, where he was Conference USA MVP, he was looking like maybe one of the best, if not the best, dual threat quarterbacks in the country, Colorado could easily be contending for a Big 12 title. If Kaidon Salter falters, no intention of rhyming there, I don't know what Colorado's ceiling is, because then you're thrusting a freshman into the action. It's like, is he ready? Who knows? So Kaidon Salter is my answer for offense. Defensively, I'm looking at Jaheim Oatis, right? At one point, it was the number 1 player in the transfer portal. Defensive tackle, Alabama. Really good freshman year. This past year, injuries, new staff, doesn't really have the impact Alabama was hoping. But Colorado, it's a new life, right? Colorado needs someone to be disruptive. They need someone to help stop the run. Because I think in all 4 of their losses this past year, for the most part, they were out physicaled. They were pushed around in the trenches, right? The games that they were won, they had the physical advantage. So Jaheim Oatis being just an absolute specimen in the front can really change things for the Buffs. So those are the 2 guys that I think absolutely need to hit, because if they don't, I think Colorado is probably putting a lot of expectations on those 2 guys specifically. So if they don't hit, it's like, oh gosh, like where do we turn now? Like, how do we know what to do? Like who's gonna step up if Jaheim Oatis doesn't? Who's gonna step up if Kaidon Salter isn't the guy that they were hoping, right? So really tough situation to be in for those guys to have so much pressure. But those are the 2 transfers. You guys comment below your 2 that Colorado really needs to hit on in 2025 to contend for the Big 12, possibly contend for the playoff, and really continue to build on what was a strong season in 2024. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow, and I will see you guys tomorrow.